We do a mic check, 1, 2, 3. Am I shouting loud enough? Is that okay?
Check, check.
You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. From southwestern Pennsylvania, the 50th District, Greene in Washington County, where we invite you to come home, go big, and have a ball, I'm State Representative Bud Cook. I'd like to kind of start out by thanking some people right off the bat. We have Tom and Cindy Sokol here today, and we're on their so gracious to host us here. We have members of Team 50th that are also here. Our camera crew, which never gets thanks, we appreciate that. We have the Mayor of Spears. We have Councilman Zalaski from Charleroi. We appreciate you all being here. So, I'm an old baseball player. I like to break things down by 3. And so today what we want to do is cover 3 projects we've been working on in the 50th District in Harrisburg, and then also 3 pieces of legislation that we have going on out in Harrisburg. So I opened this up by saying, come home, go big, and have a ball. The reason we're on the top of this hill tonight is if you look over my shoulder, on your right-hand side is Fayette County, on your left-hand side is Westmoreland. We're in Washington County. If I go 10 miles north, I'm in Allegheny County. If I go 15 south, I'm in Greene County. If we work together and we pool our resources and we identify our assets, attractions, and activities, there's absolutely no reason why we cannot make this into an amazing destination point, not only for travel and tourism, but also for people to relocate their family and, most importantly, attract business here. Now, the second project that we have going on, we had started originally and then COVID hit. We set up a group called Student Advisors. And I'll tell you, I've never been more proud of a group than I have in my entire life. Our district, the 50th, is not divided by a traditional district, by boroughs and townships, but rather what we opted to do is divide it by school district. There are 10 school districts total in the 50th District. And what we did is we went in and we asked that each one of the school districts provide us with 2 student advisors to the state representative. This past year, after COVID shut us down for a while, we reinstituted and got it up. We tasked the students to identify assets, attractions, and activities within their school district, as well as information about their boroughs and township. I have never in my lifetime been more proud of our young people than what they did. There's actual video out there of when they did their presentations out there. We've reinstituted again. We hope to get even more participation from all 10 of our school districts, not just 6 of them. Finally, Blessing of the Baylors. Started right here in the 50th District, Greene County, in a place called Rice's Landing, a very small community. For some other reason, whatever, I happened to have the honor and the opportunity to attend the very first Blessing of the Baylors in Greene County. I was so impressed with that community of approximately 400 farmers and individuals that we took it to Harrisburg. A lot of people don't realize this, but agriculture is our #1 industry in the Commonwealth. Our #2 industry in the Commonwealth is travel and tourism. Blessing of the Baylors were where they gave thanks for their blessings, and we had people bring hitch pins in. This past third blessing of the Baylors in Harrisburg, we had 30 students travel from southwestern Pennsylvania to 50th District to attend that blessing of the Baylors. Now, there were other events going on that day at the Capitol because they had to shut the Capitol down twice because there was so many people in there to do that day. It was literally wall-to-wall people. So we're really excited about next blessing of the Baylors. The Farm Bureaus was our initial partnership. We've added 6 additional partners out there, and it continues to grow. So those recapped our projects: Come Home, Go Big, Have a Ball, Student Advisors, and Blessing of the Baylors. Let's talk about legislation and why. Why am I proposing the legislation that I'm proposing? The first piece of legislation that we took a look at was tire recycling. And we were approached by an entity that was taking a look at here in our district about putting a state-of-the-art recycling tire factory. There would be 0 leftovers after they process it. It would be probably one of a handful in the entire United States. And so we've been working real hard with landowners, investors, and people that would be involved in helping us do that. The trick always is, as a legislator, we have to have a lot of confidentiality meetings and things. So as we go forward, we look to have a commitment from that shortly. There are also some amazing things going on that we are privy to, that within the next month or two should not only bring businesses here, but also many, many job opportunities, up around thousands. So stay tuned, watch out for that. Our second piece of legislation was felons who have served or were serving as representatives or senators should not be able to then, after they've served their time, serve as lobbyists. Now, both parties are guilty of this, okay? Where there are people that have, in my opinion, violated the trust of the people with that oath you take. I believe if you violate that oath and you violate the trust of the people, you should not then be rewarded by turning around and being a lobbyist to work legislators and other people in Harrisburg. To me, that's just flat out wrong. And we're going to continue to pursue that. Our final piece of legislation that we're proposing, and it was literally just introduced the end of last week. We have this fund in Washington County and other counties across the Commonwealth called Local Share Account Grants. Now, Local Share Account, probably if I were to go out and poll 90% of our constituents out there would have no idea what LSA stands for. It stands for Local Share Account. Every time somebody does games on the slot, 1% of that money goes into an LSA fund, and it's distributed by the county commissioners. And I think there's maybe 4 or 5 where it's contained within the entire county that they're in. Other places have multiple counties involved in this. As a freshman, I can tell you, I did not even know what LSA stood for. I had to go do the research. But the problem was not a single borough, township, or entity got a single penny in a grant the first year in office. So, of course, my natural curiosity kicked in, and why, and I went to them, and they said, we're not going to waste our time applying for the LSA grant. We don't believe it's a fair program. That started me down a journey of 9 years. Get your arms around that. 9 years as a legislator, starting first with a meeting of the then commissioners, moving up the ladder to do the research, working in legal, filing right-to-knows that the commissioners would refuse to release to us so we could figure out why. We've continued that march up. I've been able and very grateful for my colleague legislators that joined with us about 2 years ago about rotating our representative that serves on that board as the representative. Okay. The other elected official is the senator. Now, 9 years later, we have never gotten a final accounting. We have asked for a forensic accounting of that program. I mean, we have taken this as far as the former AG's office. Again, we're still fighting. So I'm proposing, even though I don't want to do it, that we take those funds away from Washington County, and what we do is we bring them back to the Commonwealth Financial Authority in Harrisburg and let them do the applications and do the resources. So, wrapping up again legislatively, it's about the finishing up as a convicted felon, should not be able to convert that into a lobbyist job. Also the legislation to work with DEP to get the groundwork laid so it's more attractable for people to come into that, and then finally the LSA funding. So I'm very honored to represent the people of the 50th District and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It's a great honor. I can't tell you how blessed and honored I feel to be there when I sit in that chair when we're out there legislatively. So now what I'd like to do is open it up to questions. We were going to take 2 or 3 maybe from the thing. Sir.
Mr. Cook, thank you for being here. Al Buckton from Carmichael's area. Can you elaborate on what you mean by when you say we the people candidates?
Very good. So it had been 30 years since I had served in office. I started out as a city councilman, and then fast forward I got back into it. I never was prepared for the world that I got into. Okay. In my world, it comes down to 2 types of elected officials. There are there for their personal interest. Okay. There are those of us that are there for the interest of we the people. The politically connected, as I like to call them on the other side, are more interested in their power. They're more interested in their personal gain and then whatever else they can get out of it. We the people are there to represent you, the constituents that sent there. And listen, again, like I said in my original statement, this is not party. This is both sides. There's a small sliver of group out there that are just in the middle of that. They're out there doing their job as a representative. I like to point out to people my business card that I use. It's the only one like it in the entire House of Representatives. And the reason that is I had them put my district contact information above my name, because I never want to forget who's supposed to be working for who in this arrangement. Second, another question?
Mr. Cook, I'm Joe Bagucki from Carmichael's. I'd like to have you touch a little more on your fixation on LSA here in Washington County.
So, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, I totally did not know what LSA stood for. The first meeting we had was more like an interrogation of myself than a conversation. There was a lot of concern about why was I asking so many questions about LSA. I remember the meeting very distinctly in my mind. After about 30 minutes, I looked at the commissioners and the people that were in attendance at that meeting. I believe there were about 7 or 8 total to one. I said, we better move on past this LSA or I'm out of this meeting. And that kind of set this ball in motion. The next thing I know, we were filing right to nose and trying to get the information. Now, I don't know how much you know about right to nose, but you sometimes get rejected on your right to nose. We initially got rejected in our right to nose here in Washington County. We appealed that to Harrisburg. After approximately $30,000 spent from the people here in Washington County to fight that right to know out in Harrisburg, we were granted permission to go back and review all those awards over the years and kind of develop a whole plan. What happened from that was, at the end of the day, after we went back and took a look at it, is that we identified $10 million unaccounted for. Now let me say that again. $10 million unaccounted for. I'm not saying it's missing. There's a former president that used to say trust but verify. Okay? I trust them. I just want it verified. Can you imagine being a businessman and not being able to account for $10 million? You would not be around very long. So we backed off for a while, hoping that with some changes. We have worked with the former Attorney General's office. We have worked with a 3-letter federal agency that called us to see if we were interested in having a conversation about it. Get your arms around that one. Okay? Trust but verify. Okay? I am like a dog with a bone. I grew up here in the Mon Valley. Okay? I'm not going to walk away from this until we get it one way or the other. If it ends up coming out and being fine, great. I know the people are covered. However, if it's not, then we have some serious things we need to take a look at. Final question?
Here from Greene County. What are your political intentions moving forward?
Great question. Look, in the Cook family, you were never allowed to complain about the job, okay? If you took the job or you took the task or you took the business, okay, you didn't quit in the middle of it and you didn't stop. So having said that, I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish regardless of the attacks that we've had the last 9 years. Non-stop attacks. And I believe it all goes back to the accountability of the LSA money. I will be on the ballot in 2026. I will finish this job. And I think we're best served as me staying as a representative in place. I want to thank you all very much for your questions and your attendance. Listen, never forget, we elected types work for you, we the people. The last time I checked, it still started with we the people, doesn't it? So keep that in mind. Don't let anybody get under your skin. Again, thank you very much for the honor and privilege.